Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News with me, Erica Barker. On tonight's show, young people across our region get their dancing shoes on. A Lincolnshire windmill appeals for volunteers to keep its cogs turning. And Richard York has the latest sports roundup. But first, here's James Dunn with the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, police want you to register your goods so that they can be returned if lost or stolen. And a preservation society needs help to keep the cogs turning on a working Waltham landmark. Humberside Police are trying to encourage second-hand dealers to sign up to a website which could allow them to find out if goods are stolen before buying them. A new initiative has been launched with many bar and nightclub owners who will hand over lost mobile phones directly to the police. Officers will then check the details on a central website, immobilise.com, and can track down the owners to reunite them with their property. The website relies on owners registering their details, but it's not only for mobile phones. Police are now encouraging people to register any property, no matter how large or small, so that if found, it can be returned to them. They have also handed out forms to second-hand shops, asking them to sign up and be vigilant as to whether the goods they buy are lost or stolen. The Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce has welcomed the Chancellor's budget, which they say is good for business and great for savers. Chief Executive Dr Ian Kelly said increasing export credit to £3 billion and business rate discounts and enhanced capital allowance for local enterprise zones could have a big impact on the Humber. But the Chamber did express disappointment that calls for more money for flood defences were not answered. They claim the £140 million pledge for repairs nationally will barely meet the needs of the Humber alone over the next 20 years. Police are looking for a woman who is believed to have struck a 3-year-old child in Tesco in Cleethorpes. The little girl was in the trolley when an unknown woman approached her at around 4 p.m. on Monday, March the 10th. Her mother was alerted when she began to scream. Police believe the woman suffered from either learning difficulties or mental illness and was with a carer at the time. Police would like to speak to either the woman, the carer or any witnesses with information. East Coast Railways had the second highest rate of complaints out of any train operator in the country in the third quarter of this financial year. The Office of Rail Regulation revealed yesterday that there were 166 complaints per 100,000 journeys between October and December last year. It's only second to Virgin Trains, which had just 0.6 more than East Coast. The rate is also more than the same period in the previous year, while Virgin saw a dramatic reduction. For First TransPennine Express customers, it was just 58.7, and also less than the same period the previous year. The number of parents claiming job seekers allowance in the Yorkshire and Humber region has fallen by around 15% in the last 12 months. Figures from the Department of Work and Pensions show there were 12,750 claiming the benefit in January this year, compared to 15,460 in 2013. But despite the drop, it's still significantly higher than before the recession in 2008, when it had consistently been less than 1,000. More than 3 times as many pregnant women are opting to have the flu vaccine since it became available in antenatal classes in 2012. The figures relating to October 2013 to January this year show that the highest increase was in North East Lincolnshire, where it jumped to 413 compared to just 124 in the same period the previous year. In North Lincolnshire, it more than doubled, rising from 94 to 209. Head of Midwifery Julie Dixon believes that the increase could be due to the fact the vaccine was made available during routine appointments at antenatal clinics. A Hornsey pensioner has been prosecuted for fraudulently claiming more than £20,000 in benefits. Colin Wills, 65 of Marlborough Avenue, had failed to declare more than £140,000 he held in order to claim pension credit and council tax benefit. He was given a 12-month suspended sentence, ordered to do 180 hours of unpaid work and told to repay the £21,990 he claimed, as well as £400 in costs. Andy Hardy, Investigations Manager for East Riding of Yorkshire, said they take a zero-tolerance approach to fraud. And finally, the Waltham Windmill Preservation Society have been raising money to maintain the landmark since 1980. But they're now looking for some younger people to take the baton and ensure its future.
And since then we've completely refurbished the mill, so she's now a fully working mill. And we think it's important that these pieces of machinery, of traditional machinery, are conserved. What is more is they do produce some very nice flour which produces glorious bread.
More on that later in tonight's show, and if you can help, contact them via their website, walthamwindmill.org. That's all from me. I'll see you next time.
Rock Challenge is back, with school children across our region taking it to the stage to compete in the dance competition. Led by Humberside Police, it aims to keep youngsters occupied and off the streets, with the Northern Final soon to be held in Grimsby. I went along to the Northern Lincolnshire Heat in the town yesterday as they got ready to take the competition by storm. Over 40 schools are taking part in this year's Rock Challenge, which sees pupils from around East Yorkshire and Northern Lincolnshire compete for the coveted title. Yesterday, the Grimsby Auditorium opened its doors to over 300 students, with the winner then going on to the Northern Final, together with the winning groups from Hull and Bridlington. The final will be held at the Grimsby Auditorium this summer, with schools as far afield as Scotland coming to the town. This round involved 7 schools, including Franklin College, Coombriggs Primary and Woodlands Primary.
I think it makes them better team players. They learn how to work well in a team. It gives them responsibility, gives them a professional atmosphere to perform in, which a lot of them won't get experience of that because we don't have hugely professional theatres around this area. And so it's really nice for them to get involved with these sort of things.
It makes you perform in a large audience, so it makes you feel more comfortable and confident. Yeah. Knowing that you can do it.
And does a lot of hard work go into it?
Yeah, definitely.
Hours and work and
After schools and dinner times and whenever you got free time.
all day, most of the time, innit?
Yeah, if we have
in
to.
different groups and everything.
But it's worth it in the end,
Yeah.
so.
And why is it worth it?
Just all coming together and like doing something we all love together as a team.
As a family.
Yeah. And performing, it's just like, you get that buzz, don't you?
Now in its 16th year, led by Humberside Police, it aims to give youngsters a chance to perform on stage while learning to work as a team.
Now it originated in Australia, and it's a really effective way of showing young people how they can live a healthy and happy lifestyle without the need for any artificial substances, including tobacco, drinking, illicit drugs, etc. It's exciting for them, it's fun to be involved with. It's great from a police point of view because obviously we all know of the dangers associated with illegal substances, and also the harm it can cause, the vulnerability it brings to young people, and the victimisation really of young people. So we're very keen to do anything we can to educate against these dangers. All the work that they're doing is in their spare time, after school, during school breaks and weekends. So they're getting together in a positive way, positive environment, using the spare time, using all their extra energy that they've got and built up to a beneficial result, which we're all looking forward to tonight. We now have 3 events in the East Riding, 3 in Hull and 1 across in Grimsby. We're looking to expand it all the time. Obviously it depends on funding, which is one of our main issues. But we're very, very happy and pleased that local businesses support us.
And the children were certainly getting into the swing of it. Erica Barker, Estuary TV. New Waltham Windmill has stood on the same spot for more than 100 years, and visitors will no doubt be looking forward to it reopening in Easter through to December, as it does annually. Not only is it a treasured landmark that can be seen from miles around, but it's also a working mill producing flour for bread, as it did all those years ago. But the people who raise the thousands of pounds needed to maintain the windmill need to recruit some younger fundraisers to keep the cogs turning. James Dunn went along to find out more.
A windmill has been on this spot in Waltham since 1666. The present mill is one of the last built in Lincolnshire around 1885 by Sandersons of Louth, costing around £500. And back then it was pretty important.
In village life, in actual fact, the 3 main people in the village was the lord of the manor, the vicar and then the miller, because people relied on the mill for the flour, for their daily bread. So it was very important.
But in 1962 the mill stopped turning, and by 1980 it was in a bad state of repair. That's when the Waltham Windmill Preservation Society was set up to save and restore this vital piece of our heritage.
This last year we spent just over £30,000 which included tarring and repairs to the sails and also painting the exterior. But in normal terms, we look between perhaps £4,000 and £6,000 to keep it going. And it's all due to volunteers who generate funds that pay for it all. The group of people that I am delighted to be a part of have been working very, very hard. And since 1966, which is a very key starting point, when the windmill was actually in a real state of disrepair, if you were to look at the photographs back then and then look at the photographs now, you would be amazed at how much time and trouble people have put in, many, many hours.
But the committee set up in 1980 is largely unchanged, and the members will be the first to admit that, like the mill, they're not as young as they used to be. To maintain it, they'll need younger volunteers to take the baton.
The young just do not want to know. The middle-aged don't really want to know. And here we are, several committee members, and one or two of us are hovering around the 80s mark, which is, well, we're getting too old for it. We've been in the game too long, I'm sorry to say. And yes, we all want new young blood, or younger blood.
But for now, the fans continue to turn, much to the delight of thousands of people who continue to visit.
It is a lovely landmark, and people do flock up here because they like it, and they like to come into the windmill, especially school children, and have a good time here.
Because it's quite a landmark. I mean, when you think that you can see it from Laceby, you can come along the A16 and see it. When it's stood still, actually, you don't notice it, but when we have the sails turning, it's amazing.
James Dunn, Estuary TV News.
Now here's Richard York with the sport.
Thanks, Erica. Now here's the sport news and a look ahead to the weekend's games. Hull City will face off against West Brom at the KC Stadium on Saturday. The Tigers will be hoping former Baggy striker Shane Long can continue his recent form as they hope to bounce back after their recent defeat to Manchester City, which has left them sitting in 13th place in the league. 22 could be a lucky number for Scunthorpe United this weekend. The Iron will play on the 22nd as they hope to extend their unbeaten streak to 22 games as they play away at Burton. Russ Wilcox's side have been on top form lately and could potentially keep the streak going into next week. After beating Braintree for the second time in 2 weeks to keep their faint Conference Premier hopes alive, Lincoln City are now setting their sights on Gateshead on Saturday. Lincoln are currently below Gateshead in the table, but a win here could see the team jump 2 places. Grimsby Town remain in playoff contention despite their defeat to Forest Green in the week, as the Mariners prepare to travel to Nuneaton Town. The Nuneaton side has problems of their own to overcome after Town boss Kevin Wilkin left the club to be appointed as the Wrexham manager. Also on Saturday, in the Evo Stick First Division South, Brigtown will be taking on second place Leek Town. At home, there is a wide gap between the two teams as Brigtown sit in 18th place. Cleethorpes Town face Eccleshill United in the Toolstation Northern Counties East Football League. Cleethorpes have the potential to take the top spot in the league if they win, and current leaders Bossersford Town lose to Shore Lane Aquaforce at the weekend. In rugby, Hull KR will take on the Bradford Bulls on Sunday at home. There is a local derby as Grimsby travel to face Lincoln, and Cleethorpes will host the Chesterfield Panthers. Also at the weekend, Market Raisin and Louth will be taking on Huntington and District. In basketball, Hull Wasps will head north to tackle Newcastle Underline College Knights as they make their maiden appearance in the playoffs. If the Wasps are successful, they will move on to face the winner of the semi-final clash between Middlesex LBTC and BC Meadowliners London. That was the sports news. I'm Richard York. Now back to Erica.
Thanks, Richard. Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today, but I'll be back at the same time tomorrow. And don't forget, if you have any stories, problems or views that you want to share with us, you can get in touch by phone on Grimsby 315561, on Facebook or Twitter at Estuary TV, or email us on news@estuary.tv. That's all from me for today. See you again tomorrow. Goodbye.